Hello and welcome to our next lesson on cybersecurity. So let's start off first by defining what cybersecurity is. Cybersecurity deals with the reliability, availability, and safety of computer systems, as well as the integrity, confidentiality, and protection of data. So we can break up cybersecurity into three general categories. The first one is in regards to data security. And data security concerns itself with unauthorized access to data. And other people having unauthorized access to data, such as your data, that can affect the confidentiality of the data, as well as the integrity, where integrity is where their data hasn't been modified. So sometimes when there's a security breach, people can modify the data to make it inaccurate. And it also affects the availability of the information. And this can be, for example, personal data. This can have an effect on personal data that's stored in the cloud when there's been a security breach. Okay, so let's move on to the second and third categories. The second category is in regards to system security. And these are in regards to attacks on system resources. For example, computer hardware and operating system software. And these are concerned with things like malware, where some examples of malware are things like viruses and malicious programs. Third category is in regards to network security, and this is in regards to attacks on computer networks. And for example, attacks on privately owned networks and the internet structure itself. Okay, so now let's move to some moral issues in regards to cloud cybersecurity. Just to give you some examples of cloud computing applications, some are, for example, online photo storing services, web-based email services where you can store your emails, as well as online backup services, backing up your data. So these are services where you can access this information that's stored on the cloud from a variety of different kinds of electronic devices in different locations, so long as you have internet access. However, there are some moral concerns that are raised. The first one is that users have little control over or direct knowledge about how their information is transmitted, processed, and stored. Should there be, for example, better dissemination of knowledge in regards to how one's information is transmitted, processed, and stored? Second, if the company goes out of business, what should happen to the data? Should, for example, the company be able to do with your data whatever they want to do? Or should it be somehow released to you? Should you be notified of it so that maybe you can back it up somewhere else with a different company on the cloud? What should happen? Third, can the host deny the user access to the data? Right? If you store some of your personal data, maybe some of your photos up in the cloud, can the host deny you access to the data or not? After all, you're kind of storing your data in their place, right, in their space. So do they have a right to it, or do fundamentally, more so speaking, you have a right to it? So think about some possible analogies or similar kinds of situations which might shed light on the situation as far as whether or not you can be completely and fully denied access to the data to the data that you store up on the cloud. And a related question is this fourth one: who owns the data stored in the cloud? Once again, the issue arises, well, you store it in their place, right? It's in their space, in their cloud. So in that respect, do they ultimately have the final say in regards to owning this data or not? Or is it yours, right? It was originally yours and you put it up there for safekeeping, and yes, it's in their space, but it ultimately is yours. So this is an issue in regards to property rights. So this is an issue in ethics about property rights and having rights, right? Freedoms and rights to property, and how we determine who owns what property and why. So in regards to these four, I will leave these open for discussion in the forums, and I look forward to reading posts on these various possible issues, providing reasons as far as your answers to some of these questions, taking into account the various kinds of reasons that have already been given on both sides of the issue. And this was a very short lesson in regards to this particular assigned reading. So that's it for this, and I'll see you for the next lesson.